Welcome to February, the month to get loved up. We've had a busy week with our clients, many of whom are digging deeper into their financial sustainability strategies as they execute on Q3 in preparation for the end of financial year, which is only 5 months away. We've been helping teams around Australia with 1% improvement goals, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I'm Rob Covino, and this is Mirus Industry Analysis January edition. Well, the January numbers are in, and average daily subsidy was relatively unchanged across the industry. We did see a slight increase of 47 cents to 179.28 for the industry, and that was split with a bit of mixed growth across both providers. We're attributing this to some of the claims being processed from the November and December period that are now settling in the Medicare system, but as a result, we've had a relatively flat month report in January. With occupied bed days for the month of January, we also saw a slight retreat in the industry, with private operators taking the most off at just under 0.1%. And the industry is traveling at 90% of occupied bed days over the month of January. So I alluded to the 1% change that a lot of the clients that are working through some of their occupancy challenges is to target a 1% growth. Now, if we break that down into an equation around a 1,000 bed operator, I'll just show you the net effect of what a 1% change can have on a provider's income stream. So we take 1,000 beds and we look at a 1% change in growth. And if we use the ADS of the industry at 179, times the number of days a resident would be in care, we can see that the overall equation would be a net effect of over $650,000 performance. So we're encouraging clients to continue to look amongst other areas of their business as ADS reaches its theoretical max or flattening out across the industry to save and make their businesses more sustainable. Well, for the Medicare claimant activity over the month of January, we did see all three segments retreat in their activity of both mandatory and voluntary claims. The private operators still led at just under 9% of their claims being both mandatory and voluntary, with the industry now at around 7.71%. The not-for-profits had the biggest retreat though, down 1% to 7.25 over that period. And if we unpack the voluntary claiming out of that area, we also saw retreats again across all three segments. The overall industry is at 7.71% of all claims in the system being both mandatory and voluntary claims. However, if we unpack the voluntary claims out of that data, we can see that the not-for-profits were leading at about 2.66% of all their claims being voluntary that were submitted in the month of January. This is about a 0.5% retreat though, and the industry for voluntary claiming was sitting at 2.6% of the claims in Medicare being submitted as voluntary. Well, within the Medicare system over January, we did see the percentage of overall claims that are greater than 12 months also decrease across all the three segments. Not-for-profits have about 37% of their claims in the system that are greater than 12 months, with the industry now at around just above 34% of all claims in the system being greater than 12 months. If we turn our attention to the average rate of new ACFIs versus the average rate of our departed ACFIs over the January period, we did see a tightening up of all three admission to discharge rates across the segments. Not-for-profits were around $28 a day variance, with the private operators around $25 a day variance. This led to the industry being just over $27.50 a day off of the average rate of their new admission to the average rate of their departing admission. If you think about the formula that we talked about earlier in the occupancy, what we're trying to control here or measure is effectively the assumption we have of the average rate of our residents. And an example we used is 179. That gave us the net benefit of $650,000 net benefit. In this example, if we open up a lot more of the admissions, we then could see that the 179 could become 150, and then that will remove some of the net benefit of the incoming residents. Now, within the complex healthcare pressure area trends, now this is the procedure for repositioning at least 4 times in a day, which is also a good indication of the acuity of residents across Australian nursing homes, with the not-for-profits having just over 36% of their claims in the system with a procedure 5 attributed to it, and the private operators leading at just under 44% of their claims in the system. This has brought the industry to around 38.5% of claims in Medicare having procedure 5 pressure area care claimed in the Medicare system. For the January period, looking at our workforce trends, and this data is coming from our clients that are on our workforce application systems, we did see the care hours reported on a per day basis down about just over 2% to 2.76 hours worked on a per per day basis. Agency hours did have a big spike over the January period, up about 28%, with the allied healthcare hours being down around 23% over that period. We hope to catch up with old and new friends at the ITAC 2020 conference, which is next month in Brisbane. Continuing with our Change Doesn't Have to Suck campaign, Andrew Farmer will be presenting What Can We Learn About Our Service Models from Our Medicare Data. At the end of March, we're looking forward to the Leader Summit in Sydney with a goal of delivering new thinking for 2025. Over 2 days, we hope to recharge, rethink, and reframe the strategic direction of making aged care better. Please find information below about these events and our free benchmarking and insight service at Mirus Australia. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rob Covino, and this has been Mirus Industry Analysis January edition.